16-year-old Kim Bryant lived in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1979. She attended Western High School. January 26, 1979, started out normal for Kim as she went to school. Thereafter, she went to a Dairy Queen restaurant near North Decatur Boulevard and US Highway 95. Later in the day, when she did not arrive back home, her family got worried and called the police. An extensive search for Kim was then launched. Almost a month later, on February 20th, 1979, Kim's body was found in the desert. She had been indecently assaulted. Investigators collected DNA evidence belonging to the suspect from her body, but were unable to make an identification. Over the years, a number of detectives worked the case, but weren't able to solve it until recently. A private donation was given to the investigators that allowed them to send the DNA sample of the suspect to Ortham Incorporated and pay for DNA testing. Ortham is a Texas-based laboratory, and they conducted genealogical research on the sample. Their testing led to a relative of the suspect who agreed to give a second sample. In late November of 2021, investigators announced that they had identified Johnny Blake Peterson as the person responsible for taking Kim's life. At the time of the crime, Johnny was 19 years old. He had previously attended the same high school as Kim. Johnny passed away in 1993. He was never considered a suspect until it was discovered that his DNA matched the DNA found at the crime scene back in 1979. Lieutenant Ray Spencer said during the press conference, 10 days ago, we were notified that the genealogical profile built by Ortham Labs, based on the DNA recovered from the body of Kim Bryant at autopsy, revealed that Johnny Blake Peterson is responsible. Ray Spencer also read a statement from Kim's father, Edward Elliott, in which he thanked the investigators for never giving up on the case. Kim was a beautiful girl with a bright future, and it makes me happy that something is being done to help solve cases such as hers. Kimberly Murga, Director of Laboratory Services for the Las Vegas Police, said this: "We first attempted DNA on this particular case back in 2008. We were not able to get a DNA profile. Technology has continued to advance and revolutionize. We again attempted DNA on different items of evidence in January of this year. We were able to obtain a foreign male DNA profile on some evidence, and we put the DNA profile into CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System, and at that time, we obtained no hits. That's when the department turned to advanced genetic genealogy testing. It is not known if Kim and Johnny knew each other." 22-year-old Diana Hanson lived in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1983. She was a college student and was visiting her parents while on holiday break. At 4:30 p.m. on December 30th, she left her family's home to go on her daily jog. When she did not return, her parents got concerned and called the police. The next day, a construction worker stumbled upon a body in a desert area on West Spring Mountain Road. The body was quickly identified as Diana. The autopsy revealed that she had been indecently assaulted. Detectives were able to recover DNA from her body and preserved it for future use. Police also found signs of a struggle at the crime scene. They believe Diana had been abducted somewhere along her route and then driven to a second location. For the next 38 years, investigators from the Las Vegas Metro Police Department continued to work leads on the case. However, they were unable to identify a suspect. In August of 2021, investigators reached out to Ortham Inc., a Texas-based forensic sequencing lab, to request advanced genetic testing on a DNA sample taken from evidence left at the crime scene. After DNA testing was complete, they identified Johnny Blake Peterson as responsible for taking Diana's life. Dr. David Mettelman, the CEO of Ortham Inc., had this to say: "We took this profile and did a number of things, including a genealogical search that allowed us to identify ever so distant relatives. And with a lot of distant relatives, we were able to piece back together through the public records and family trees a plausible identity for who the donor of the DNA was. As Johnny is responsible for what happened to both Diana and Kim, investigators are looking into the possibility that he has more victims. They already have a list of 5 similar cases that they believe he could be involved in." 19-year-old Pamela Dorrington lived in Helena, Montana in 1968. She graduated from Helena High School and was working as a surgical tech at St. Peter's Hospital. Pamela was described as quiet, but popular with plenty of friends. She loved animals, including her dog and horse, and was interested in languages with the hope of studying to become an interpreter. Pamela was last seen on the evening of February 16, 1968, at a restaurant in Helena. The next day, she was reporting missing when her friends and family could not reach her. For months, law enforcement officers, family, and friends looked for her, with flyers of her put up across the northwest region of the country. About 4 months after Pamela was last seen on June 13, 1968, the custodian of the Gates of the Mountains Marina found human remains floating near the dock. After some testing, it was confirmed that the remains belonged to Pamela Dorrington. The man that lived in the apartment below Pamela was questioned by investigators, as he was acting strange, but there was not enough evidence against him, so the case went cold. In December of 2021, 79-year-old Courtney Brooke Atlas confessed to taking Pamela's life. He was the man that lived in the apartment below Pamela. According to him, on the morning of February 17, 1968, he called Pamela and said that there was a water leak in her apartment that needed to be fixed. He then entered her apartment and strangled her. Courtney then stored her body in a barrel at a hangar where he taught flying lessons. Eventually, he moved her body and disposed of the remains by tossing them off the York Bridge, where it was discovered by the custodian. Courtney is already serving a life sentence for taking his wife's life in 1983 and then burning their home down with his wife's body inside. Courtney demanded immunity from prosecution for what he did to Pamela, and then he'll tell them everything. It was discussed with Pamela's family, and then the offer was accepted. It's not really known, though, why Courtney decided to confess after all these years. Pamela's brother Jeff had this to say: "It's very emotional, of course, but it's been a relief, and there is a certain amount of closure. I've been thinking about Pam every day for 53 years, and it's so hard to abruptly stop. But I woke up this morning and went, it's a new day, things are different." It's great, I must say, that the confession was given, and now we know what happened and how it happened, noted Jeff Dorrington. It is closure.